reap what you sow, people. You reap what you sow. If you set up negatively, don't expect to win a game of football. This is now the second game in a row that Manchester United have thrown away points, and it ends 2-2 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham 2, Man United 2. And really and truly, I should not be sat here talking about a draw, which kind of feels like a loss in my opinion. If you want to ask for my opinion, or if you want to know if I celebrated that last goal from De Ligt, I didn't. I literally froze in front of the TV and yeah, just watched the goal unfold, because if you expect me to be happy after this draw, then I'm gonna have to disappoint you. I definitely think that we should have walked away with all 3 points from this game. The same way we should have walked away with all 3 points against Nottingham Forest. That's 4 valuable points that United have thrown away. 4 valuable points for the second week in a row. So I'm gonna have to disappoint you guys, and I'm really sorry, because I am not happy with this. This is a Spurs team, by the way, remake of the Europa League final. In terms of quality, overall, from both teams, this was absolutely atrocious. Probably one of the worst games of football that I've seen in a very long time. And I'm not saying this in terms of the goals that were scored. I'm saying in terms of the quality, the passing, you know, some of the marking, some of the defending, some of the choices that were made. Sometimes I saw people without pressure just losing the ball, can't control it properly. From the first minute even, Sander Lammens, even though he made incredible saves, and it was not just him, it was everyone on the pitch. I saw people slip and I saw people fall over their own feet and trip over their own feet. Like today, in terms of quality, this was not good at all. And like I said, this was a Tottenham side that struggled to create chances, and we still let them create chances to score goals. In the first half, I actually think that United did well to contain Tottenham, because they've had 3 shots, none on target, and United had a total of 3 shots as well, 1 on target, which was the goal, which kind of tells you 2 stories. United didn't create enough and Tottenham didn't create nothing at all. But then you see a massive shift in the second half where Tottenham had a total of 7 shots, 4 of them were on target. United had 2 shots and only 1 of them was on target. 1 big chance and 2 big chances for Tottenham, i.e. the 2 goals. This is a Spurs side that had again, you guys know me, I'm not the biggest guy on stats, but this is a Tottenham team that last game in the Premier League, before they played in the Champions League, they had an XG of 0.05 at home. You guys remember, you know, I talked about it for those who watched my match reaction. That was some of the worst football that I saw from Spurs. And we still couldn't walk away with a win. We still couldn't walk away with all 3 points. Now, I did think it took us some time to get into the game, because the first 15, 20 to 25 minutes, like I said, the game of football in terms of quality was not good at all. Misplaced passes here, misplaced passes there, not really picking up your man properly, winning the ball back but then losing it straight after, and this was on both teams. But because Tottenham was so poor, we managed to score a goal that were created by them, actually, because the cross comes in. Pape Matar, I don't know what he was thinking in terms of just booting it away. When the cross came in, he chests it down, passes it back to Van de Ven, who then shoots it onto Matheus Cunha, if I'm not wrong. There's a call for handball, but the referee carries the play on. Then you know what happens after that. Mbeumo scores, and I believe that's his 4th or 5th goal of the season. Bryan Mbeumo is hands down the best player for Manchester United in recent times. He's been bailing this team out time and time again. But I'm happy for him at the same time, because it proves that that transfer really worked out for him. And he's been putting in extremely good performances. But what good is it when you score goals up front and when the people up front do their job, when the manager sometimes is holding you back with some of the tactics and some of the decisions that are being made, i.e. substitutions? After the goal, I thought we'd done really well to contain Spurs. We limited them to absolutely nothing. We limited them to no chances at all. They couldn't break us down. There were times where they would play a pass through the lines. They would have infinite amount of opportunities in front of them, i.e. Xavi Simons and etc. But they just couldn't find that final pass in between the lines, or even through the wings to try and cross them in for people to be in the box. Actually, when they tried to cross it into the box, there was nobody there. And the commentators were even saying it as well. Every time Spurs were on the attack, there was no one to be found in the box. So partially, I can't even blame some of the Spurs players because that's up to the manager to create a plan where there's enough bodies in the box so that when you do cross it in, people are there to finish it. And for me to say this with people like Richarlison and people like Kolomwani, who are quite tall and quite big, to be in the box and not get any service at all, kind of tells you the full story. I thought defensively in the first half, De Ligt, Maguire, Shaw and Dorgu, they done really well to contain Spurs. Mazraoui obviously started the game after a long time out. Didn't have the best of games, which is probably why he got subbed off in the second half, but he was decent, he was okay. Our midfield today wasn't at its best, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of misplaced passes here, a lot of misplaced passes there, not really taking care of the passes properly. It wasn't a great game to watch for our midfield today, but you know, they were decent. Then we go into the second half and that's where it all changed. And this is where I go back to what I said in the beginning of the video. You reap what you sow. For the life of me, I can't understand why from the 60th minute, United tried to defend deep and try to defend the lead. Ruben Amorim then makes an attacking change. He takes off Mazraoui and he puts on Sesko. And I'm looking at that substitution and I'm going, I'm interested in that because that's what I want to see more of. Take off a defender and put on an attacker. That's what I want to see more of. Then Maguire gets injured, so of course you have to make a like-for-like change. Maguire comes off and Lenny Yoro comes on. But then Amorim does something that will puzzle me forever. He then makes two defensive changes. Manuel Ugarte comes on for Casemiro in the 72nd minute, and Mason Mount comes on for Mateusz Cunha in the 72nd minute as well. And you know what I always say when it comes to Amorim? It's all about choices. Why make two defensive substitutions? Because to me, Mason Mount doesn't offer much going forward. I see him more as a workhorse trying to help out in terms of the defensive duties. So that's my opinion. I don't really see Mason Mount as an attacking threat. So why make those negative impacting substitutions? What message are you sending to your team when you take off Casemiro and you bring on Ugarte? What message are you sending to your team? And what message, most importantly, are you sending to the opposition? Because the opposition's looking at this and going, hold on, Ugarte, oh, that means we can go. That means we can try more. Lo and behold, that's what happens. Then Patrick Dorgu gets a yellow card, and it wasn't to the point where it's scary and you have to go, oh, maybe you can get a red here. No, he was playing well, even in the second half. He locked everything down on that left-hand side, on that left channel. Maybe going forward, it wasn't all that, but especially defensively, I thought that Patrick Dorgu actually done really well. He then takes Patrick Dorgu off and he brings on Diogo Dalot, who within his first action loses the ball. That was his first action, losing the ball to the opposition. That's when I knew something might happen here. Then it does happen. A lovely cross from the left-hand side into Matisse Tel, who had come on earlier for Spurs. Matisse Tel literally rolls him and he finishes. I know the shot takes a deflection, but that was a lovely finish and a deserved equalizer. And from that point on, I just knew that the Spurs winner was in the air because they kept pressuring us and pressuring us. Mind you, this Spurs side wasn't creating nothing, absolutely nothing, but the fact that we allowed them to get that equalizer, it pumped up the fans, pumped up the manager, pumped up the players, and also the substitutions. The negative substitutions that Amorim made allowed them to be a bit more proactive, and that allowed Spurs to get what we thought was the winner. Odegaard gets a shot off, and Richarlison, in true number 9 fashion, gets a little flick on, celebrates, takes a shot off, and at that point I'm thinking, you know what, we actually deserve this loss because there was no need to make all of these negative impacting substitutions and have such a negative approach towards the end of the game. We should have played in the mid-block trying to get a second goal. I will never understand why every time we score a goal, Amorim feels the need to revert back to a negative approach, sit very deep, soak up all of the pressure to then hit teams on the break. Why can we not be proactive? Why can we not bring the game to the opposition? Why do Man United always have to be reactive? That is my issue with the manager. Why does he always feel the need to be negative after we go up 1-0? Why does that always have to happen? I just can't understand it. And as long as that happens, as long as he keeps making those negative substitutions when United are winning, yeah, we'll win the odd 3 games in a row. We'll be happy, fine. But we will never really truly go back to where we want to go back to, which is the top. But because the players have developed such a never give up mentality, which I've talked about before, the same way they've done it last week against Nottingham Forest, they managed to get an equalizer, a late equalizer. And when I say late, I mean proper late. Matthijs de Ligt rises up in the air at the back post after a cross from Bruno Fernandes, or the corner I should say, and he heads it in to make it 2-2. And like I said, I didn't celebrate because we should not have been in that position in the first place. We should have never allowed Spurs to do that. Never in a million years. This was a poor Spurs side, and we managed to give them a game. A Spurs side who statistically has the fewest shots on goal since the start of this Premier League season. We allowed them to have 2 goals, and 2 jammy goals as well. So how do I look back on this game? I'm very disappointed and borderline angry because, like I said, these are 4 points that we've now thrown away in 2 games. And realistically speaking, we should have been sat here having 6 out of 6. Today against Spurs and last week against Nottingham Forest. Some may look at this and go, Aaron, you're being too negative. Look at the bright side of things. Manchester United haven't lost in 5 games. Ruben Amorim is trying to find a way. It's starting to click. I don't think anything is clicking, to be honest. And like I said, as long as we have that negative approach, especially when United go up, these things are going to keep happening. You can't expect, honestly, you can't expect. This is just me using logic, right? You can't expect to win games of football by bringing on defensive players. It's just not gonna happen. The same way when we lost the Europa League final against Spurs, we finished the game, what was it, with 5-6 defenders on the pitch? It's not gonna happen. Last but not least, since I talked about substitutions, right? Kobbie Mainoo, Joshua Zirkzee, my brothers, do what you have to do. I'm not gonna blame you if you request to leave. I'm not gonna blame you if you request to go on loan or if you request to be sold. I will not blame you because this manager is clearly going out of his way to not play these guys. Why? I guess we'll never know. Word to Kanye West. We'll never know. Games like today, when we needed a goal, a second goal, we could have brought on a Joshua Zirkzee, the same way we could have brought him on last week against Nottingham Forest. But instead, we make negative substitutions and we bring on defensive midfielders and defenders before we bring on strikers when we need a goal. All of this does not make sense to me in my head. It just doesn't. So, Kobbie Mainoo, Joshua Zirkzee, my brothers, got love for you. You know this, but do what you have to do. Go and get some minutes. Go and play football. Because clearly, as long as Ruben Amorim is in charge, it's not going to happen at Manchester United for you guys. And I am extremely, extremely gutted about that. Extremely gutted. But anyway, listen, let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. Very disappointing result yet again. We move. Next game, Everton at home. Let's see how that pans out after the international break. But yeah, you know what to do, people. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Share this video with any and every Manchester United fan that you know so we can share the pain. But anyway, it is what it is. We move. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Road to 20K, closing in on 19, and I'll see you guys soon.